disturbed me, even when I wrote my previous book, which was Darling Ji, the true love story of Nargis and Sunil Dutt, is that yes, they were secretive at that time, but then also we must remember that these were the days before social media, before the photographers hunted these people down as they do today.
Everybody is interested in the celluloid. Everybody is fascinated by the dream merchants. Everybody has a lot of questions and curiosity about how the film people are really behind the camera. And the questions that I'm often asked is that, are they really as beautiful as they look on the screen? Or are they really happy, or do they pretend to be happy in their personal lives? Or are they as heroic as they come across on the big screen, or are they shallow, double-faced, and you feel let down by them? Other questions they ask is that, are they lonely? Are they seeking friends from the outside world? How artificial, how natural are they? And how much can you trust them? Are they honest? Interestingly, it is always the present generation, like in journalism, who tell me that, ma'am, you lived in a much better time than us. You met better people than us. And I feel that how sad that I never met Meena Kumari. How sad that I never interviewed Madhubala. How sad that I never interviewed Guru Dutt, because these people all died before I became a journalist. So to not get lost in this fascinating world, I thought that we will go by decades and all of us will try and recall what we do about that era. So starting with you, Kishwar, I've read your The Longest Kiss on Devika Rani. I've seen the play and both are fantastic. But what really touched me about your book was the prologue or the foreword, where you talk about your struggle of putting the book together and her innumerable letters, which are not all legible, and how you had the whole house of your living room was scattered with those letters, and how you were trying to divide them and put them together. And then you told this fascinating story of passion, deceit, and so many other raging emotions. What my question to you is that, do you think that in the 30s, because your book begins in the 30s, they were more secretive and led a kind of a more cloaked life?
Thank you, Bhavna. As always, it's wonderful to talk to you because you are a walking encyclopedia on film cinema. But what I want to say is that working on Devika, yes, it was it was work of passion, really. And what disturbed me, even when I wrote my previous book, which was Darling Ji, the true love story of Nargis and Sunil Dutt, is that yes, they were secretive at that time, but then also we must remember that these were the days before social media, before the photographers hunted these people down as they do today, before the journalists became so interested in their private lives. They could indeed have private lives which were away from the newspapers and from media, because it was not the television that we know today. It was not there, and it was definitely, there was no other media that was as intrusive in those days. So they could have some privacy. But I also want to stress on one thing, especially where Devika was concerned, is that she was a great archivist. And this for me was a huge relief when I started writing this book. It wasn't easy, yes, as you mentioned, to get that material. It was scattered all over the place, and people who had it sadly wanted a large amount of money. I was very fortunate that I found her letters, because that showed to me that her private life was very different from the persona she projected on screen. And she was fiercely protective of her privacy.
If you've enjoyed the conversation that you just heard, do subscribe to our channel for much more.